Well, hello, Second Act folks. This is the Second Act Show, and I am your co-host, John Tarnoff, along with my partner in blue today, lovely
I'm
Carrie
Carrie
Hannon.
Hannon.
So I'm in a bit of a Star Wars mood these days for some strange reason, and so I wanted to just shout out the fact that today Carrie and I are going to be the Leia Organa and Han Solo of Second Act careers, bringing the Force
Excellent
to
choice.
bear on the entire galaxy.
Way to go, John. You're really pulling these out. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. I don't know where this is coming from, but anyway, so we are kind of heading into the holiday season. So we wanted to, we only have a couple of shows left before the break. And we wanted to bring on our friend Tom Matt today. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about Tom. We're, so thrilled to talk to him because, again, thinking about the end of the year and how we can all use this time to help inspire all of us. We both kind of came up with this idea. We got to have Tom on. We've known him for years. We've both been guests on his Boomers Rock Show, which has now kind of gone on to another evolution. But today we're going to get to shine the spotlight on him and talk about where he has come through in terms of his own personal challenges, leading him into the fitness industry and into academia, many certifications in sports medicine, other areas, but he's really kind of focused on this next phase of life and in a way which I think is going to be very inspiring. He's been a radio broadcaster in his native Michigan for more than a dozen years, I know. And for us, I think he's kind of the go-to guy for staying energized and inspired in the second act. So we're going to get into that today. Anything else you want to add about our distinguished guest?
No, I'm just a big fan of Tom's positivity, his enthusiasm, and look forward to hearing what he has to share with us today.
Good. So I'm going to just move my screens over here, having some slight screen problems there for some reason, but here is our friend Tom Matt. Come on. There we go.
Here he is. Hi, Tom.
Hey, Carrie, how are you? Thank you guys so much
for
good to see you as well.
So Tom, I wanted to just
very nice intro. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Sorry. So I want to just kind of jump into this and start off by just framing our half hour here today and picking up on this idea of being some kind of an inspiration for our listeners as we go into the new year and coming into what are continuing to be uncertain economic times, layoffs, inflation, et cetera, at the end of 2022. And to really, in our pre-show, we were talking a little bit about mindset across a number of different areas. So I guess I wanted to start off by asking you this question about your journey and about how you got to this place of the positive mindset and what were the challenges that you had to overcome to get to this place.
First, I want to thank you both for inviting me on your show. And it's been a long journey. I mean, I'm 63 years old now. And I just refired from the university of almost 24 years at Michigan State University. But before that, I had to overcome a personal, I'm a problem drinker. And so I had to come to that realization, go into therapy, get through all of that. And so that was the first step. And that allowed me to be able to date somebody as awesome as Sandy, my wife now, and then go back to college and finish off some loose ends from back then. That led to 9 years of undergrad and graduate work, 6 and 3. And then from there, and when we were in our late 40s, we were both looking at each other, knowing that our girls were we have 2 daughters, we knew that they were going to grow up and move away, and we were going to be empty nesters in this big house that we had built. And we needed to have a game plan for something next. And so I got certified as a personal trainer, and then the book started writing some books, and then the radio show came along. The radio show, which then before even podcasts were becoming relevant, the podcast now is something that is super relevant. And so in a very quick nutshell, you to overcome a few things. And so I say I've had a couple of epiphanies, and I had a serious illness when I was in graduate school too. So those things added up to my several epiphanies. And, John, epiphanies happen to people, and all of a sudden there's a wake up call. And it's like, when you get that wake up call, you have a choice. And we talked about choices. If you make a choice to do this, or if you do that, then that's your choice. And so, that's hopefully you make a good choice, and you just do the best you can and keep working and working and working. But it's all about effort. It's all about enjoying life. It's all about giving back. So it's great. And I love talking to you guys and having you on my program as well. And so I love what you're doing. I think this is very, very important work that you guys are doing.
Well, I like what you said there, Tom, about making a choice, and you really have to own it. You have to, if you do that, just grab that path and go for it, and I think that's something I love about your positivity and your ability to have made these pivots in your own life has given you the tools to really to share that with others. And I think what you have done, John and I both having been guests on your show, you've had some amazing people on your show, because you really tease out the best in people, and you look for what you can learn from them as well. So I think and your listeners. So I think it's kind of cool. Before I ask you a really important question, I absolutely need to know. I need you to tell us what music you're listening to right now. John, he always asks me what like my first concert was or something.
Well, I'm so new to YouTube and YouTube Shorts that I've been taking those 15-second clips. And so today was a Steve Winwood clip. I have a lot of 90s, a lot of 70s. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this cool video about Aerosmith and this one of their songs, because I heard the song. And when you hear a song, Carrie, I know you know this, John, you as well, you hear like the first 3 seconds of the music, immediately which song it is. You remember the lyrics. And this was from high school. And so I'm all over the place, but I like high energy. I'll say this right now. My wife is a huge country fan. I am not really that big a country fan, but that's okay. To each his own. Yeah. But I'm gonna be clear. So yeah.
So let's riff on this. So Carrie, what are you listening to these days?
Oh yeah. Well, I listen to a lot of Sirius XM radio. So the Spectrum, and there's a couple of artists on there that I like, but I really like Brandi Carlile. I've been listening to her a bunch. There's Luke Bryan. Well, not that. I have to think of who is it? Zach Bryan. Who's really great. And there's a new song out right now that I've got this earworm going on by a band called Talk, or a guy called Talk. And it's about, you're going to run away to Mars. And I lost somebody in my family this week, and it's all about, will you find me in the stars? And I'm like, what a perfect song, so music really gets us through. And I love talking to Tom about music. So anyway, Tom, so tell me something. In the guests that you've had on your program, what do you think the common thread has been, the message that really has resonated with you, with many of them, that have come from many of them?
Well, we have 12 categories on our program. So the common thread would be everybody's really smart, and that they all have their, I call them my subject matter experts. And so they bring it. I like what you said, that I'm learning from my guests. I look at my interviews with our multitude of guests is going to office hours when I was in graduate school and I was struggling so bad. It's like having a conversation with a smart person like a John Tarnoff, or a really super, super huge star like you, Carrie Hannon. Talking to you guys and becoming friends with you is so validating. It's just like, so the common thing is like they help feed me the energy to say, you know what, you're onto something, keep doing it. And so I just love the intellect. I love to find new topics. I like to learn. I don't want to be so narrow. Don and I talked about this pre-production, but I want to be able to have a conversation in a lot of different fields, from genetics to physical fitness to nutrition to sleep habits. All over the place. But have a wide range so that we can have a good conversation. And so that's kind of what I've taken from interviewing so many different there because of the 12 topics. We're everywhere. So great question.
And I think it's curiosity. That's what's powering it. And that's what keeps this stage of our life so interesting. I think John and I spend a lot of time mining that area as well. It's just really what makes us keep looking for what's next, or what more can we learn.
So, Tom, if we're kind of getting into the holiday blues now, and we talk about loneliness as being a big factor for people who are getting older. Loneliness, even if you are a couple, you may feel this sense of loneliness and disconnection. And I want to relate this back to something which you said before, this equation that you have created around this idea of choice plus challenge equals change. How do we change this? How do we change this, perhaps at this point, habitual holiday melancholy that many of us feel, and sense of mortality, sense of whatever other challenges may be going on in terms of meaning, purpose, income at this age? Big question. Where should we start?
Well, the big question has really small answers. It's incremental change. You have to start small and set those goals that are attainable. If you can find attainable goals and you can get small wins, then you can cross that bridge. And what, like Carrie was saying about curiosity breeds creativity. And so creativity will help you perhaps think of new ways to get through the blues of the holidays. And I feel for people, a lot of, we're the growing older population for sure. And so we have loss in our lives. And so these memories come back, and yes, that's that time. So maybe we change our mental perspective and just honor our memories and our people that perhaps we've lost, and try new things, take a different direction, and try to go and maybe get out and meet some other people during the holidays, or volunteer, or do something a little bit different, but small wins. I mean, we just got to set ourselves up for small wins.
So perhaps some kind of a project. I mean, take on some kind of a project,
Sure.
or think up a project, or whatever that is, to kind of push ourselves forward.
Sure, because you want to get the small win, and it could be anything. It could be taking an online course. It could be doing a dance class. It could be pottery. It could be many, many, many different. The internet has broke down all the barriers to entry. And like Carrie's books say, with all the people that recreate themselves from 180 degrees, it's about having that faith and eliminating the limiting beliefs, because the limiting beliefs are what hold us back. And they're so built into our psyche, and that's okay, because our inner voice is there to protect us. So you want to have that relationship with your inner voice, and you want to say, okay, well, I'm going to give this a little shot. That's why small wins are better, because big goals and your inner voice can say, well, see, I told you, you can't do that. And well, if you can get the small win, if you can just get up 5 minutes earlier, well, that's a small win. I mean, wake up with gratitude in your heart every day, and just think about that. It takes 3 seconds. Wake up with gratitude, something that you're grateful for, first thing in the morning, every day, and start there. That's a very simple way. It doesn't cost a dime, and it takes about 3 seconds.
Love it.
I absolutely love that, Tom. That is magic, because you kick off the day on the right note. And I try to get that when I'm walking my lovely Ellie, my Labrador Retriever. Now, I look at the leaves, or I look at, right now it's kind of all the leaves are off the trees here in Washington, D.C. But guess what? All of a sudden now, look, and there's some roses blooming in somebody's yard. And I'm like, wow, that's really amazing. And just pausing for that minute sort of reshifts my mind. And in the work I've been doing, I work a lot with job seekers, as does John. And one of the things people ask me all the time is, how can I change my mindset? Because, if I've been being rejected for jobs, or I can't, I'm kind of down because I don't know where to go. I don't know what I want to do. And so I think you're just starting with those small wins can really help us get started in a better frame. Wouldn't you agree, John?
Absolutely. Any other mindset tricks that you want to share from your experience?
I don't know if it's more the word tricks, or if it's just behaviors. Is it going to be the perception thing? Is it, can we accomplish this? Vision boards, to me, John, are massively important. Writing things down, journalizing is hugely important. listening to good podcasts like this, or perhaps my show, reading good books like Carrie's books, all of these little tips that you can pick up on, because there's, like, again, I said, the barriers to entry are broken down with the internet. So there's so much availability out there. Don't be afraid to take that first step. So again, having that gratitude in your heart first thing in the morning can set you up for a positive momentum build. And so I love having the dry erase boards all over our little house, Lansing, as we call it, on the refrigerator, on my mirrors in my gym, a giant whiteboard, and just write them down, jot them down. I have cards in front of me right now with that choice plus challenge equals change, and many, many other little equations that I have, John.
So are you constantly capturing ideas? Is that the idea?
Constantly. Yes. That's part of my routine in the mornings. Is I get on my bike and I will read, and I will just slowly get warmed up, and anything that comes into my mind, I have paper there. I write them down. I have my phone now, my new iPhone. I have notes about different topics I want to talk about, the readings that I'm doing, about guests that I want to approach for perhaps coming on the show. So constantly writing down notes. Yes, for sure.
You had talked
I mean,
about.
I think that's really cool. I love vision boards too. I mean, I just think it's fun because you can change them up all the time, and you might be, something might hit you, and it just inspires you, and that I love offering that tool, Tom. I'm glad you reminded us of that, because a lot of people forget that you don't need somebody to sit down and do it in a workshop or a class. You can do it all by yourself at home. You can tear out phrases from magazines, or you can go online. You can even do vision boards right on your computer. There's a couple of platforms that let you do that. But I do the same thing. I surround myself with all kinds of positive accolades and pictures of, what I want what goals I have in my life, and maybe there's a horse or a dog involved, but those guys.
I can't imagine that.
Yes, probably. It starts with the horse or the dog. Yeah. Hey, Tom, you had talked about this idea of the campfire, and I think this is a wonderful metaphor. I want to kind of get into this and talk about this idea of refirement and igniting, and this idea of sparking, and all of the metaphorical stuff that comes up around lighting the fire, keeping the fire lit. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, I want to keep it simple. So you start with a little small campfire, and you think of your inner fire as a small campfire. And so first thing you want to do is you want to clear all the area around your campfire, right? Like Smokey the Bear would tell us. So you clear that area, you get rid of all the dead wood. Okay. So in your life, you may have probably have acquired some dead wood, relationships, perhaps bad habits, poor choices, a variety of different things that you want to start to slowly clear away, and you clear those away. And then the second step to building a strong campfire, inner fire, would be to have good fuel. So which fuel do you want to put on your fire? Because as your fire grows, your internal fire will gain if you have good nutrition, if you have good exercise habits, movement habits, if you start to acquire these new perspectives and perceptions of everything that you can do, if you have a lot of positivity in your life. Not to say that you're going to disregard anything that is potentially harmful, but you just have to start there, and you just have to move forward with that. And so the campfire, radio guy doing, the theater of the mind kind of thing. It's like, okay, clear the dead wood, bring on the good fuel, and let's get it going.
And, talk, if you will, also from your background in fitness and training, about this relationship between mind and body, mood, endorphins. I find that as I get older, it is so much more important than ever to engage physically, because I find that if I don't, my mind just kind of starts to space out, get depressed, go off in tangents, and I need that physical activity every single day. Otherwise, I just go crazy.
Part of the job, as we said during pre-production as well, part of my role now, my job is to put in a little bit extra opportunity time for my exercise routine, stretching, whatever I'm doing that day. If I'm going out to the gym, I have a client that I work with on Wednesdays, and so I stay longer for those days. So those types of opportunities, you have to make sure that you think of it that way. Think of it as like, hey, this is part of the gig. Chunking time, as we talked about, John, chunking time, finding that window and making sure that, hey, I'm going to do an hour's worth of this work and then I'm moving on to this next thing, and not getting sucked into the vacuum of, I don't know, playing with your phone and looking at Facebook or whatever and give yourself the rewards, but make sure that you give yourself the opportunity to achieve your goals, because again, the inner voice will start chirping at you saying, see, I told you, you can't do this. You're not up to this. You can't do this. You're too old for this. We have all these negative spin that happens. So the endorphin, the kick, the creativity, the curiosity, I like the quiet time. And I think it's very, very important for us to love ourselves. We do not love ourselves enough. We need to love ourselves more, because we have a lot to give back. And our young people, as we talked about, our young people need us to be there to help them. And take it from me, everybody, I've been around higher ed for almost 25 years, and I still go out to the campus almost every day, and I'm around the students a lot. They need us so much. That's why I wrote that book, that Generation Us book, and Carrie did the foreword for that. It was so vitally important to break down these barriers of the generation of the boomers and the Gen X and the Gen Y and millennials and Gen Z and alphas and all this stuff. It's like, we're just people, and we got to help each other. We just got to help each other get better.
Yeah, I love that humanity in it, Tom. I think that's really, there's a lot of movement today. Some of the, Marcy Albaher, who's been on this program with us, their organization is very involved in the co-generations and working together with different generations, whether it's in your work, whether it's working in your volunteer, or just in your personal life. But it is truly magic, really, when you make that connection with someone of a different generation and you see that common bond between you, that there's not such a big leap by the ages, but you also learn from each other. I mean, I'm constantly learning, even from my nieces and nephews, things that help me with managing my life. And I'm hoping I'm teaching them a few things as well. But it's not so formal. It's just like it happens. It's organic, right? I mean, you have that, John,
Right.
probably as well.
Well, the
Yeah,
intrinsic
I mean,
value that intrinsic value, excuse me, Carrie, but the intrinsic reward and value that you derive from helping people is unbelievably powerful. But if we don't experience it, and you start to have that longevity with it, you start to look back on it over the years and go, wow, that really did work. Because in the moment, it may not seem like it's that big a deal. But again, that's that incremental change that we want to try to apply and become more habitual with these types of things. And so having the confidence, that builds on more confidence, which allows us to reach out more and give more. And then we start to we receive back more intrinsically. It's an amazing, having life is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to do great things. And even if you've had tough times, like I've had many, many tough times in my life, but you know what, at this point, I'm looking forward to the refirement zone, as we call it, and doing what we're going to be doing. We earned it. We're here. Sandy and I we're pretty basic people. I mean, we're very low key. We've saved our money, and it's all about giving back now and helping out. That's it, period.
Don't stop doing your show for a while. We like your show.
Thank you.
The other, I hope I'm not talking out of school, but two things you said before we kicked off the program that really resonated with me is one, you often say to the students on campus is, who are you going to call if you have a flat tire? I mean, that kind of idea. And I think I was sitting there going like, who am I going to call? So, I mean, it's like that's part of that human connection. And if we're all feeling going into the end of the year here, maybe uncertain or down or whatever, in trying to pull ourselves together a bit, that's one thing to think of. Who do I have in my life? Who are my go-tos? And can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Oh, absolutely. Because being at an institution, higher education like Michigan State, it's a big school. So the kids come from all over the country, all over the world. And so a lot of these kids, or they could be international students, they're a long ways from home. You have to build that bridge with them and get to develop that trust. And then you have to give them reassure them that somebody cares about you and we want to help you. And so if you need don't take it. If you need to ask for help, don't put it a negative vibe on that, on yourself, because people do that all the time. I'm not going to call them. They won't, bother. No. Think on that other side and reach out and have those established paths that you can, and maybe, John, that's the answer to the question is, what are we going to do different this holiday season? Maybe we're just going to make a call to somebody we haven't talked to in a while. Something simple.
I love that idea. Love that idea.
I love that. I love it. Yeah. No,
think
it's true. I put so many people on my list every week I'm going to call, and then I don't.
And it's not just Christmas cards, right? Not just holiday cards, but actually picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the phone calls are, they've kind of lost their emphasis. And I think that they're very important in having that voice communication. And that's another thing about being a growing older adult. It's like, we like to make phone calls. And so, but even sending text messages now, that really resonates for the young people. If you send them a text message and don't expect anything in return, just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Takes how long? 3 seconds. Send the text, send them a note. The young people really do appreciate that kind of stuff. And we do it all the time with our students that have moved away and going to graduate schools all over the country. And so it works. And these young people, they really appreciate it because they're just starting out. They're just figuring it out. They're so young and they're so impressionable. It's like we have this opportunity, that generativity that we can all derive from. So it's like, hey, let's do it. Let's go. Let's help people. Let's get going.
What a great note to wind up on. Tom, where can people reach you? Where can they listen to you? Where can they find you?
The easiest way, everybody, is just go to our website, tommattshow.com, tommattshow.com. All of the buttons are there. Everything's been, we just redid the whole website. I've got some new YouTube presence going on, and it's still in its basic infancy, but it's coming, and I'm working at it. And it's like, that's one of my goals, get better at this and doing episodes like this with you. So tommattshow.com. John, thank you so much, you guys, for the opportunity to share. This is great to see both of you like this. And I hope people get value out of this, because what you're doing is very, very important.
Thanks. Well, to that end, I'm just going to throw up the card for our next show. This will be on December 15th. This will be our final show of 2022 with Beverly Jones. Carrie, do you want to say a couple of words about Beverly?
Well, Bev is one of my go-tos. She's an executive coach, but she's a lot more than that. She's a real leader for women. Her whole career has been focused on women and making a difference for their career paths and so forth. And I actually know her from Washington, D.C. I quote her a lot in my books, in my articles. And so I'm a big fan of what Bev has to offer. And she's great at people making transitions and really helping you tease it apart.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, Tom, Matt, for being with us today on the Second Act Show. It's been a joy and fun and energized, and we can't ask for any more than that. So
thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're all going to get refired now.
We are totally refired.
Not fired, but refirement.
just think campfire, and just this 2 steps. Just clear the dead wood.
Clear the dead wood and get the good fuel. Love it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace out.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.